With us now is former federal prosecutor Danya Perry. Thank you so much for being here. Look, can you explain from the perspective of a prosecutor, how significant are these text messages linking Trump's campaign to the breach of voting systems in Coffee County, Georgia?
It's significant. It's certainly significant, at least as with respect to certain putative defendants, likely defendants, including elected officials out of Coffee County who issued these unlawful invitations. There's no question that they were aware that this was outside the boundaries of the law and that various statutes were implicated, including computer trespass in violation of privacy. And so those people, I think there's never been any question, are certainly going to be under investigation and potential prosecution. What is interesting now from these latest reports is that there actually appears to have been some close collaboration with members of Trump's team, including Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, and that it appears that the former president himself, or the president at the time, Trump, was aware as well. And so now it seems that the circle widens, and certainly DA Fani Willis's net has widened as well.
Yeah, initially it was thought that this was from the ground up to the campaign, and now there are questions about whether or not this was planned by the campaign and then trickled down. I do want to talk about Giuliani's legal team and their response to the accusation that he was involved. They are saying he had nothing to do with the breach and, quote, you cannot attach him to Trump attorney Sidney Powell's crackpot idea. Saying that, did Giuliani just admit this breach was a plan?
And a crackpot one at that. Yeah, look, it's never great for any defendant when other defendants start pointing fingers. When there's infighting amongst potential defendants, that typically means that one of them, could very well cooperate against another, or at least that they could have inconsistent defenses, which is never good for, any member of the defendant class on that side of the aisle, as it were. So that defense also appears to be rather weak sauce, given the reporting, with emails and messages from members of Giuliani's team that certainly seemed to indicate that the quote-unquote mayor was heavily involved. It's hard to see who else, that could refer to. So it does seem like, some of the lines of defense are crumbling, but it really does remain to see who knew what, and also whether they knew what they were doing was unlawful. Certainly seems that in other occasions they sought judicial orders in order to look at the results of certain voting districts and machines. And in this case, it sounds like they were considering trying to get Mr. Trump to seize some of these machines. And those efforts or attempts or thoughts were rejected. And so it does seem they're going to have a hard time defending against this iteration of the scheme to simply take them upon invitation. So it does seem, it's not surprising to me that defendants or putative defendants are pointing fingers at one another when the evidence seems this damning.
Could you give me some sense of what kind of charges could be brought in light of these text messages that we now know about in this particular part of what we are expecting to be an indictment in the next couple of days?
There are I don't know where that came from, Georgia state statutes on the book, many of them. There are trespassing statutes that go way back and from common law, and there are more, recent statutes that relate to interference with computer systems and trespassing via electronic means. So there's a number of potential statutes that the Fulton County DA has access to and can decide which facts best fit the legal framework.
Danya Perry, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you. John?